Hey, on this video, I'm going to talk about why autism and mainstream workplaces don't seem to mix. And I've got personal experiences and stories as an autistic person, including things that really can get anything from me fired to bad reputation for nothing more than being autistic. We'll look at that and we'll come up with some reasons on why it happens and how we can address it. I legit need a haircut. I don't know if it looks bad to people, but to me, it looks literally like I've been in the woods for 6 years. That I've been living in a cave, sleeping with rocks. I like to go to the barbers, not the hairdressers, but like those cool traditional barbers where you get the old school, none of the washing your hair and you put your neck back. This is the thing, this is me getting a haircut, okay? Let's say there's 5 barber places in the shopping center. Okay, great. So I'll walk to the first one, and if there's more than one person sitting there, because you can't get appointments, you've got to wait, one person waiting, I'll go to the next one. And then if there's more than one person waiting, I'll look, I'll go to the next one. And then I'll keep doing this. And then I'll go, okay, so the last one had 3. The one before that had 2. Okay, what's this one got? Oh, this has got 4. Bloody hell. Next one, well, that's got 5. It's like, this is ridiculous. So I'll go back to the first one that only had 2, and now 2's got 4. So I'll go to the second one that had 3, and now 3's got 5. You go to the fourth one, and the fourth's got 1. You're like, oh, this is the one. I'll just quickly check 5. 5's got 200. You go back to the fourth one, I only had the 1. Now there's 3 people. It's like, I'm trying to get a haircut. This isn't a joke. An hour later, I can be walking around a shopping center trying to find a barber with no one waiting. I'm not even kidding. Yes, that's why my hair's long.
And now, here's your neurologically different host, Orion Kelly.
Thank you so much for watching. Once again, I really do appreciate it. I love all your support and I love all your feedback. I'll make this really quick so we can get to why autism and mainstream workplaces don't mix. If you want to find me on socials, hit me up. Please, if you watch my YouTube video like this one or other ones I've put out, give me a thumbs up or a thumbs down. And please, I'd love you to hit that subscribe button so not only do you never miss another episode, click the bell as well, but you can also comment and share the videos with other people so we can help make the world a better place for autistic people. Now let's do this, my friends, why autism and mainstream workplaces don't mix. And I have got some personal stories and experiences for you. So first up, I want to talk about something that's near and dear to my heart. And there's a myth about this that it's only a kid thing for autistic people. It's not. We're talking about meltdowns. Ooh, I can feel a rant coming on. You do not grow out of meltdowns. You are born autistic. You will die autistic. So please, if you're not autistic, if you're neurotypical and you see a grown man or woman having a meltdown, don't treat them badly, okay? Don't ostracize them. Don't think, oh, whoa, that's a bit too aggressive or angry for me. Oh, you can't work here. I feel uncomfortable. Well, how do you think we feel? We're autistic people living and working in a neurotypical world. How do you think we feel every day? Seriously, meltdowns in an autistic sense is not the same as a regular neurotypical child having a tantrum. That's completely controlled to manipulate, okay? Tantrums are a manipulation. Meltdowns are uncontrollable. You cannot reach an autistic person who is melting down. If it's got to the point where your autistic child or yourself as an autistic adult is melting down, then you have reached the point of no return. You can't be reached, you can't turn it around. The best thing to do is to try and see the warning signs or to just allow that person to safely re-regulate themselves. So in a workplace, it's not like I can go, well, I'm leaving home now, so I'll put my meltdown cap on the back of the door there. No more meltdowns for me till I get home. You go to work, it's the real world. My brain, which is why I'm autistic, our brains are wired differently. The brain doesn't change. Whether you're at home, whether you're with family or friends, or whether you're in the workplace, whether you're in school, whether you're in uni, it does not matter. In fact, meltdowns can be more easily triggered when you're not in a safe space. So please, one more time, you do not grow out of meltdowns. Autistic people have meltdowns. They're uncontrollable. They're the last thing we will ever want to do. We would never want to. Why would you want to have a meltdown for? It's not like we want to do it. It's not enjoyable, but it can utterly and 100% ruin relationships, reputations, and careers. So in a workplace, and really this is no different to being in uni or school or even with your family and friends, angry outbursts aren't accepted. Okay, now I totally understand. In a neurotypical world, for people who are neurotypical, not autistic, angry outbursts can be quite scary, they can be quite confronting, they can be quite inappropriate. But for autistic people, angry outbursts are in effect a manifestation of a meltdown, and that is a manifestation of social situations, social interactions, things at work that trigger the meltdown, that trigger the angry outburst. Now, this can be as simple as a meeting. This can be as simple as moving desks, changing your role slightly, your hours, your days, whatever it is. These are things that for a autistic person can be drastic. It's not like I am a naturally angry person. I'm just prone to angry outbursts because I'm autistic. For me personally, I've been through many interactions. For example, when I am in meetings, if I have a responsibility for a certain area or a certain department and someone from another area or department is doing things that I don't agree with, or is doing things or has done things without running it by me or my team, that for me can be taken very differently to a neurotypical person. I can't explain why, I can just say my brain acts differently, and that can trigger me because it is, in my mind, such a big no-no. Why would you ever do something without running it by me? Or that's completely wrong, I don't agree with that. Or come on, keep up, catch up, what's wrong with you? These aren't things that are judgments. I'm not judging you, just the way my brain works. And as a result, it makes me hit a threshold. It triggers emotional responses. As an autistic person, it's hard for me to define, let alone manage or control emotions. I don't even really know when I'm being angry. I can have an angry outburst and you might say, don't be so angry. And I'll be like, I didn't realize I was angry. I thought I was sad. I thought I was upset. Or I thought I was normal. I didn't realize that's what was happening. The repercussions of angry outbursts, the repercussions of meltdowns for me personally, and I can only really talk for me, I think in my opinion have been severe. I can see where they're coming from. They want the best people. They want people who are team players. Having a reputation or a name like, oh, that's the guy, he's not a team player. He can't work well with others. He can have outbursts. He's not the right fit. It's sad for me. Radio, broadcasting, videos, podcasts, they're my core passion. They're my strength. I utterly love them. I would do them until I die for free. So I would never, ever, why would I want to burn bridges? Why would I want to ruin a career in the one thing I'm passionate about? It's utterly ridiculous. So uncontrollable outbursts, meltdowns are uncontrollable. They have utterly ruined my career. And you can't fix that. You can't fix reputations really. In the end, can you? When someone's labeled something, they're labeled something. And it's sad. Okay, next up, I want to talk about social skills. Now, I've mentioned this before in some previous videos, so check out all my other videos when I talk about the differences between autistic people and neurotypical people, so non-autistic people with social skills, because really what we would class as challenges in social skills, in interacting, in reading body language and signs and cues, knowing what's appropriate, inappropriate, being too close, being too personal, being too open, all this personal space, all these types of things. These are just part and parcel of my autistic experience. It doesn't mean everyone that is autistic is the same. I'm not saying that. I'm saying for me, it's part and parcel. Clearly, if your social skills are different to a neurotypical person and they would view them as quite horrible, quite bad, well then clearly that's going to have an effect on you in the workplace. But that doesn't mean that it should ruin careers. That doesn't mean that you should be fired over it or given warnings. HR come down from their ivory towers and tell the autistic person, you better be normal again, mate. You better stop being autistic. We can't have any of this around. Seriously. A good example of social skills in a workplace is things like team meetings or team meets or Friday drinks, morning tea in the boardroom once a week. These things that as a neurotypical person might think all they mean is I don't have to work for a while and potentially I'll get free food and drinks. Yep, bring this on. For me, that couldn't be further from the truth. For starters, it's getting in the way of me doing my work, and it's work I love. So I don't want to go to these things. I want to do my work. I like what I'm doing. I don't want to be interrupted. things that get in the way of me as an autistic person from doing what I love becomes quite frustrating and stressful. You can resent it because you just want to do what you love and everything is a roadblock. I can come across in these situations, in these workplace social situations, as rude or disinterested or arrogant or just quiet. I just don't have the same structure in my brain to allow me to understand the social interactions of workplaces. I'm autistic. Absolutely, I can work in teams. I can work with people. But that's on the premise that people understand I'm autistic and I think differently. I'm honest, I'm open, I'm raw. Everything that I do is misinterpreted and taken the wrong way. And this is why social interactions at workplaces actually make it worse for autistic people. They actually make it worse. You can't dump an autistic person into a mainstream workplace and go, good luck. It doesn't work. Or everything everyone else does, you do. It doesn't work. It's not how it's supposed to be. It's still how it is, and it's got to stop. Okay, next I want to touch on executive function. I say this all the time, and I'll keep saying it. When I talk about autistic people and their experiences, sure, sometimes I say it as in like more than one, not just me, but in essence, I'm drawing from my own personal experiences as an autistic person. Now, it's something that you might take for granted, but an autistic person can really struggle with executive function. One way to look at it is when you ask me a question, you've got to understand that I need processing time to process your question, but also to process my answer. Because remember, when I just respond naturally and being an autistic person, it might not go down well with you or with the neurotypical world. So I'm processing the question, which can take time, and I'm processing the answer. So imagine as an autistic person, if you're put under stress already by doing things that are already stressing you, processing things, how your executive function would fail. Staying focused. Now, everyone has trouble staying focused, but it's a different level for someone like me as an autistic person. Frankly, I think a lot of autistic people I've met, certainly me, absolutely we have that kind of lack of attention or ability to focus on one thing. We're constantly jumping around, but it's not because we're inattentive or not interested. It's because we just can't keep up with the next thing that's popping up that we want to achieve. So for me, staying focused, staying on task can be a challenge. Another big thing is trouble with planning. When you're given a task, be that at school, uni, workplace, whatever, and it's extensive, you can look at it and go, wow, I'm just automatically overwhelmed. Okay, and that's a normal response for anyone, but for an autistic person like myself, it can not only overwhelm me, it can actually cause me to shut down. It actually causes my brain to shut down. I'm so overwhelmed by this extensive list or this extensive task that I don't actually have the ability to plan how to get it done and to do it. I just shut down. And it's not because I can't do it, but it's not the same. It doesn't work the same as neurotypical people. So really, with executive function in the workplace, stresses can cause all manner of shutdowns. You only ever hear about people talk about meltdowns, and I mean in an autistic sense. I don't mean like colloquially using it, hey man, don't melt down. I mean like an actual autistic meltdown. We talk about that. We don't talk about shutdowns much. And they're the same thing. So when you reach a trigger point where you've gone past the threshold of being able to control, you'll melt down or you'll shut down. And they are different. The meltdown is an emotional release, an emotional response. A shutdown is when your brain just goes, nah, I'm out. So these are big issues with executive function in the workplace, but no one cares about that. No one factors that in. They just expect the same situation. So you feel like less of a person, you feel like an outcast, you feel like you're useless, you feel like you're not good enough, and you're unemployed. The last thing I want to discuss is unwilling detachment. As an autistic person, me personally, I have little to no friends. I have little to no circle of support. I mean, I've got my beautiful wife and my kids, sure, but I'm not like a regular neurotypical person that may be able to draw on many, many people, friends, family, community groups, workplaces, whatever. And that's not because I want that. So it's an unwilling detachment. The challenges that I have, medically, you would call them deficits. They're not deficits. I have strengths and I have challenges, just like you do. We all have strengths and challenges. For God's sakes, why do we have to label things deficits? Sometimes I just don't see those rants coming. I'm a ranter. Anyway, if I have challenges with social interaction, with making friends, with understanding friends, of course I'm going to become detached. Now, if I'm constantly attached, if I'm stuck in a vortex of detachment, I just can't make connections or attachments, then what am I going to do? I'm going to stay away from trying to make them, right? I'm going to do solitary things like filming videos and podcasts in my room. I mean, think about it. Literally, if it's something that you're very bad at and you have horrible experiences, you can't keep people, you can't find people, people don't like you, they don't understand you, why would you bother continuing to do that? So it's an unwilling detachment that can have a massive impact, not on your personal life, but also your experiences in the workplace. I've been in many workplaces. I mean, I've worked all over Australia. And working in media, you work with big teams, big organizations, big executive levels. And the thing is, it's not like when I entered and then moved on and left these workplaces, I wanted to leave with as many friends as I had when I went in, as in, none. Of course I want to make friends. Of course I want to make workmates. Of course I want to have long-term, lifelong friends from people I've worked with. Of course I do. Who doesn't? But you have to understand, as a neurotypical person, that's easy, right? That's easy. Because work can be a social situation. Work can be a fun, social situation. But for me as an autistic person, we've talked about social skills and social interaction. It isn't a social situation. Number one, I've got social anxiety disorder and I'm autistic. So I don't try to socialize in my social time, let alone at work. I mean, that's just riddled with anxiety and of course the challenges of even being able to socially interact in the way you want me to interact. So you can understand how this is tricky. When I think about it, I'm really sad. Like, I'm genuinely sad. And this is an autistic person expressing sadness. The people that I've met in radio stations, and I've talked about this before, I just wish we were still friends. I wish I could have understood myself better. I value their friendship. I want to be their friends, but I'm just going to be a bit different with regards to what they expect from a friend. It's completely unwilling, this detachment. Does that make sense? And because of that, not being able to maintain friends or even make friends in the first place in workplaces, you come across like a loner, like an outcast, like a misfit. Every workplace I ever worked at, even though I just loved working there was never a moment where I felt like this was my workplace and this is where I was going to be. Every day of my entire life, the only feeling I ever had, the feeling is basically, I'm here and I'm working and it's my work and I'm making money, but I'm probably not going to be here for very long. Like, I'm not attached to it. I don't feel like I'm part of the workplace. I don't feel like I'm part of the team. I don't feel connected at all. I'm just kind of here, but I won't be. And it sounds ridiculous because that sounds like I don't want to be there. Of course I want to be there, but I have complete detachment and it's completely unwilling. It's as a result of other challenges and that can be extremely deflating. So I guess you're asking, how can we fix this? What can we do to address it? I think as I've spoken through this video, really I've provided the reasons why autism and mainstream workplaces don't mix. When you think about it, really the reason why it doesn't mix is because of a neurotypical world and neurotypical workplace's inability to not only understand, acknowledge and accept an autistic person's differences, but to actually provide them with an environment to thrive, but to actually create the company to thrive. Because here's the thing, do you understand neurodiversity? So when you're looking for people to join your team, right, your workplace, your corporation, you're looking for the best people for the best roles, right? Okay, so neurodiversity in effect says that with the people involved in your team, you can have all the same brains, or you can add diversity of brains, autistic brains, because the thing about autism is it's in the brain, okay? The brain is wired differently. Okay, you're born autistic, you die autistic, you can't cure it, you can't change it, it is what it is. In your workplace, embrace neurodiversity. Okay, I'm autistic, I've got things that you might find weird or uncomfortable, I've got challenges, but I've got strengths. Okay, I can do things that no one else neurotypical can do. But when you put in the diversity of brains into your team, into your workplace, into your corporation, into your culture, what you get is growth. But you not only get growth and healthy growth, but you get new growth. So you have to look at it. It's not just about me. I want to make the world a better place for autistic people, but I also want to help corporations, organizations, workplaces, teams Honestly, this isn't a joke. I'm telling you right now, if you're on the board or you're part of a corporation, give me an email, hit me up, I'll come and talk to you about it. No worries. But the bottom line is here, your organization, your corporation, your team, your workplace can actually grow, can actually thrive, can actually present new growth, new opportunities through diversity. This is the big thing. You don't just get me and dump me in. Provide me or an autistic person with the environment of this is what I think will work for you to thrive in your workplace. And you don't need to go to these meetings or that meetings or do this or do that. And this is going to be your table and this is going to be your chair and that won't change. And what will happen is you will see there and then the benefits of the neurodiversity because you've provided me with an environment that keeps me in a place where I need to be as an autistic person, provides my brain the right structure, the right environment. But then of course that means I'll thrive. That means I won't shut down. It can only impact you in a positive way. We have to acknowledge this. I need you to understand this. Neurodiversity. If you want growth, if you want new growth, you have to look at employing neurodiverse people. This is my little guy, Hugo. Say hello, Hugo. Thank you so much for watching my video. Please reach out on my socials, like the Facebook page, say hey. Please rate my videos, subscribe, and share them so we can make the world a better place for autistic people. Talk to you soon. Bye, everybody. See you later. Oh, why am I talking like this? It's a weird voice for a baby anyway.